We have some huge breaking bombshell information coming out today. As you've probably already seen, part 3 of Twitter Files is currently dropping. But Eliza Bleu, if you don't know who she is, she's going to join the call any moment, has some other pertinent information that I think you all are really going to want to be hearing. Jonna, I've invited you up to co-host if you can accept that. And then just waiting for some other speakers. If you all can share out the space, that would be greatly appreciated. And we'll get this going.
Hey, it shows that I am actually a co-host. Is it not showing for you?
Yeah, I cannot see you, but welcome.
Yeah, I'm right next to you. Oh, hey, Eliza. Eliza is showing Eliza requested.
Perfect. If you can bring up Eliza, that would be great.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Throw up some emojis if you folks can hear me okay.
We hear you, Eliza. Welcome.
Great. Thank you. So Andrea is dropping the report right now. You could go to my feed or his feed. And Ella has just entered, and Ella is going to be speaking this evening. Just sort of clearing up a little bit of what happened today on Twitter. While Ella is speaking, I'm just going to make sure that Elon knows to enter the room as well. I also, if you could, I don't see that Amanda is a speaker. I'd like her to be added, not to speak necessarily, just to sort of keep track of things. I want to see her right at the top. So if you folks could make Ella a speaker, Ella Irwin and Amanda, that would be great. I'm going to get off for a second and just message Elon if you folks want to make sure that there's no dead air. Like I said, Andrea is currently dropping this current Twitter report. I wasn't able to sleep all night and all day because this has been such bombshell news. I never thought in my life I'd see anything like this. Please, folks, go check it out. So that's all. I'm gonna be off for 1 second. I'm just gonna message Elon, and then if you folks could talk for a second, that would be great.
Perfect. Okay, I'm working on getting Amanda in as a co-host. She's aware of who Eliza would like to have up here. So Amanda, as soon as you're up as a speaker, I'll be able to co-host you. I see Ella. Ella, you're in here. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you for the hard work you're doing. I was fully unaware of your position and you taking over essentially. Is that what happened as far as Twitter safety, or can you give us a bit of background there?
Sure. Well, I'm still fairly new to Twitter, although it's a very new company now, of course. I joined in June, and my role recently expanded as part of Twitter 2.0. When I joined Twitter, I joined to take on health and the strategy for the organization on how to make the platform healthy. And most recently, because of assorted departures, I expanded my role to take on the policy side of things as well. But I've been leading these teams of folks who do this amazing work day in and day out, keeping our users and Twitter safe since June.
Thank you for your effort and for, making a difference. We've heard just since Elon Musk took over, and the team has actually been heard, that there has been already some dramatic changes made in the right direction as far as getting rid of some of the child exploitation material that Eliza here has been working to try to rid Twitter of for years. So it seems like a good step in the right direction, and it also seems to be being overlooked by mainstream media.
I think it's really hard to get a sense of what's happening internally in an organization, especially on really sensitive topics like this. So it's maybe not surprising that people are not getting a clear picture. Most of the time you don't advertise this type of stuff as a company. So I think it's understandable, but we're hoping to correct the narrative and to make sure folks do understand that there actually is a tremendous amount of work going on right now in this space, and something that we've been ramping up.
Yeah, I think that's music to Eliza's ears.
Yes, beyond music. Sorry, I just talked to Andrea. He should be coming in a minute. Please, folks, go check out his report that just dropped. Ella, thank you so much. Sorry, I was a little bit busy when you entered. Thank you so much for your hard work. Of course, I'm loving these changes. These are groundbreaking changes, things I never thought I'd have an opportunity to see possible in my lifetime. And I really, really appreciate it. So today, Jack Dorsey made a claim in public about previous Twitter, and you were pulled into the conversation by Elon Musk. If you want to talk about that, please feel free. If that's something you don't want to talk about, totally understandable. I just think that what you said was pretty powerful. So I would love to get your take on that, but if not, no worries.
Oh, I appreciate that. I sort of pulled myself into that conversation, and I do want to clarify that I've been at Twitter since June, and I've obviously seen data for this year. I can't speak to the last 5 years at Twitter, so certainly multiple statements can be true here. But what I would say is that when I joined Twitter, I was actually fairly shocked at just how much attrition had happened, and without any replacement, no backfill, critical roles, critical teams left without important roles. And so you had a lot of people trying to do the right thing. I mean, of course, I'm here representing many people on the team who are working tirelessly always on these issues. And so I was shocked to find that there were such gaping holes in some of these really critical areas, like, for example, child safety. You had such a lean team of folks who were trying to do the right thing, working so hard to keep up with the detection and the prevention that's required to really do a good job given the scale of our platform. And, certainly, while you don't control all attrition, and there were lots of reasons for the attrition that the company went through this year, what you can do is pay attention to where that attrition is happening, and if it's happening disproportionately or in general, hitting really critical teams, such as a trust and safety team that literally is keeping users safe, you have to do something about that. There has to be an urgency to that. And I didn't see that. In fact, I saw a lot of obstacles to being able to actually staff the team appropriately. And again, we're not talking about doubling and tripling the size of the team. That's not, that would be crazy. It's just replacing people who have walked out the door, or, adding a few people to help, respond to a new trend you're seeing, because this is an adversarial space and bad actors are always evolving. So you have to keep up with them. And we advocated, myself, my manager, we advocated multiple times to try to get the staffing we needed. And it really was extremely hard to get that funding and to get approval to actually staff the team to do the work. And so it was really crazy. I've never seen a company act that way for something this important.
How difficult are we talking? I mean, like, because there's levels to it. I'd like to know exactly, and I think the public deserves to know, and I think that the survivors listening and exploited on this platform deserve to know exactly what was going on behind the scenes, as long as it doesn't further jeopardize some type of, as long as it doesn't further jeopardize safety. I think that survivors need to know, deserve to know.
Well, I will say, so first of all, as I mentioned, we weren't asking for something crazy, right? We weren't asking for hundreds of people. We were asking for a very small number of folks that were needed to actually do the work, right? And I mean, in the scale of Twitter and how much headcount Twitter has, this isn't a large percentage of people we're asking for. And the constant response was, well, Once you have experienced more attrition or you've lost more people and so you can get within budget, then we'll give you the heads you need. And it was in spite of several really important issues that had come up, like the brand safety incident we had in, I think it was August, if I remember correctly, where, we were serving ads against some of this content, which is terrible. And of course, we never, ever want to do something like that. We don't want to have it on our platform in the first place, but we certainly don't want to have ads running against it and a bunch of people seeing it. Like, that's doubly bad.
Just to clarify, Ella is referencing a report that came out in Reuters in September, where Twitter was running ads from major brands next to child sexual abuse material. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Ella. I just want to be extremely clear about what we were discussing.
Yeah, no, that's correct. And it was so hard to see something like that happen because the things that allowed something like that to happen were known gaps, things that the team had been fighting for a long time. They needed the engineers, they needed more engineers to do the actual work required to close those gaps. They had great recommendations on how to detect more of this, right? But it requires people to do it. Like, you can't make some of this happen. You can't put controls in place or some of the automation you need to be able to do this stuff at scale without people. And so it was very hard on the team to see something like that happen, knowing about some of these gaps that had existed and just weren't staffed and addressed.
Donna, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, so I'm sharing, I have that report you mentioned. So if anybody wants to see it, I'm tweeting it now for people who just want to see it for themselves.
Which report?
The one that came out in Reuters. Andrea actually put that together.
Yeah, really quickly, and thank you for doing that, Jonna. Really quickly, Ella, before we kind of continue, I would want to bring up Andrea. I think, Andrea, thank you so much for the hard work that you've done. I know this has been tearing you apart. I know seeing this disturbing content has been heartbreaking, and I really, really appreciate you taking this on, Ella, as well. I know seeing this content on a repeated basis is not an easy job, and so I deeply appreciate it. Just some of the things I want to go over, this bombshell report that came out tonight. Some of this content has been active on Twitter for years, with over 10 million combined views on child sexual abuse material that was not removed off of Twitter for years. So that's what's up in the report. Andrea, I just want to get your thoughts on this report and anything else you'd like to say.
Hello everyone, it's very late here. I'm still doing the tweets, and I want to thank Hella because she's an amazing leader, and she's doing a very amazing job at Twitter with Jared and all the guys working on this stuff. She's doing a miracle because basically she got a platform where the old management didn't a good job on children safety. So it's not easy. I'm trying to do a little hand. The good news is that Elon is very open to listen and to take all the actions needed to clean the platform and make Twitter safe. What I can say is the team is doing very good, and the progress is so impressive. I think that Ella, like the team, is working I don't know how many hours per day, because to fix all the amounts of illegal contents is very hard. And now you have also the people that suggest contents, that suggest potential suspicious accounts. And Ella, I do know, she is also listening people here on Twitter. So she finds a tweet where someone say, hello, I found this. She contacts directly and say, yes, I saw your tweet, I'm going to help you. So there is a shift of leadership and view, and this is very, I think it's very good, because children's safety is not like, change the color of the button, change the logo, or fix the Twitter face. It's fundamental, and it's not an easy job. So much respect for Ella. She is doing amazing. I'm continuing the Twitter thread, and I continue to listen your conversation. And thanks for having me.
Thank you for your hard work so much. Thank you for staying up all day, all night. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Thank you, Andrea, and thank you for the thread. For folks that want the latest update on what's going on with Twitter, so I just want to make something abundantly clear. This will be an update that is continuous. This is the most transparency that this platform has given with regards to this issue, period. So this is something that needs to be updated frequently, or will be updated frequently, because this is a new Twitter 2.0. They are going to be constantly making changes, and that's one of the things that I've noticed from the outside, just sort of looking in, is that they're constantly making changes with this issue. And as far as Ella goes, I have seen her myself reach out to folks in the middle of the night on a Saturday night, reach out to folks who have concerns. I know it because I know these people personally as friends, and also answering my requests as well. I really appreciate it. So Ella, what do you envision for the future with Twitter as it pertains to the removal of child sexual abuse material?
Yeah, great question. And I also I want to thank Andrea as well for the partnership, because, it ties to the answer to your question. In this space, it's extremely important, just like in many other areas where you're dealing with illegal content and trafficking. Of course, it's critical to have really important partnerships with organizations that live and breathe this. And that partnership allows us to move quicker, to identify things it would have taken us longer to identify ourselves on the platform. Like we can do a lot with the information we're given by organizations. We can go out and then do massive investigations and take down a lot of things, and it's much more effective when that communication channel is there. So I definitely foresee that continuing in terms of how we operate going forward. And this is happening, it's something that I've seen Elon push for and introduce more and more, which is, let's talk openly to organizations who are focused on these various abuse issues that we deal with, and see how that partnership can help us do a better job as a company, because we can always improve. Like we're never going to be perfect. Again, adversarial space, bad actors are always evolving, but that partnership allows us to get information that we wouldn't have otherwise. And so I'm super excited about the partnerships we've already been establishing. We've been talking to a lot of organizations over the last few weeks in particular. So I foresee that continuing. I also think that, it's really critical that we're able to move fast. And one thing that I think if you talk to anybody at Twitter 2.0 right now, you'll hear that we are moving faster than I think we've ever moved as an organization before. I mean, of course, everybody's working hard. Certainly a lot of folks are tired because we've been doing a lot of great work, but we've been able to do more with less by working smarter, prioritizing the really important things like child safety. So I certainly foresee that going forward, child safety will continue to be a top priority for our team. It's not something we will ever allow to, sort of wither away slowly in terms of staffing and resources, because we know it's a top priority. So we'll continue to invest in the space. We'll continue to get better and smarter and put the right controls in place. We want to make sure that bad actors realize it is completely pointless to come to Twitter to traffic this kind of material, because they will be detected and caught and prevented immediately.
I love that. So really quickly, the corporate media narrative right now is that Twitter has completely slashed the child safety team. I'm not going to ask you how many folks you have working on this issue specifically, but can you please answer specifically to that question? Because I think as folks go and look at Andrea's second big transparency report, they will see that it is not a completely slashed team. And yeah, so what do you think about that, Ella?
Yeah, I think maybe the strange thing about reading those reports is that Twitter slashed the child safety team a long time ago, right? I mean, as I said, when I joined, it was a skeleton crew, and far fewer people than you actually need to do this job effectively. So reading that happened as a result of Twitter 2.0 is a little strange to read, because, as I said, we've been fighting to get people for a while. um, Certainly we lost a lot of people across Twitter, or many different functions and roles, and that's, the unfortunate part of the layoff. I mean, we've gone through a lot of grieving over losing our coworkers, but I want to emphasize the fact that for critical areas like child safety, we absolutely have people working on this, and we are actually going to be adding people. We've already started, actually, but we're going to be adding people to the team and increasing the number of people we've had. We will have more people working on child safety than we've ever had before, at least this year, that I can speak to, that I've seen. And so we're going to continue to invest the right number of people on this team.
Do you think that Jack Dorsey just previously just didn't have all the information, or what exactly is going on there with that?
It's hard for me to say. I wasn't here. I don't want to speak to a time that I wasn't here. Certainly possible that at one point in time, Twitter put many more people against this than there were this year. And as I mentioned, there was a tremendous amount of attrition this year in the company. So from what I understand, there were some really good people that worked in this space at Twitter before at one point in time, but unfortunately they left and nobody replaced them. And I think part of the issue is it's actually sort of interesting to me. The approach to this space, also in terms of how you staff it, was sort of interesting this year. Instead of saying, this is a really hard job and it requires a certain skill set and expertise to do this, and you got to go hire the right people to do this type of work. Instead, it was sort of this environment of, well, we don't want to spend money on this. We've got a lot of other things that we need to be spending money on, or that, we need to save money on, I guess, either one. And so maybe we can just pull, Bob from marketing to work on this right now. And it's kind of an interesting way to handle the situation, because as I'm sure you can't just pull somebody and tell them today you're going to start working on child safety issues. I mean, first of all,
No, they'll be traumatized, and that's not nice to do to people ever.
and that's exactly what happened. I mean, it was crazy to watch, but people literally left because they said, absolutely not, I'm not working on that. And they wouldn't have been good at it anyway, because it wasn't their
Rightfully
skill.
so, because it's traumatizing. When you see this type of content and you're not trained, and if you don't have adequate mental health services there, I mean, just as a survivor advocate, it's very normal for me to decompress after each shift. That's very normal for us. So it's not, and that's not even necessarily seeing an onslaught of child sexual abuse material all day. So this is very dark, it's very depraved, and it takes a specific skill set and specific training to handle this.
Absolutely. We are so lucky to have the folks we have today working on this because that is exactly true. They deal with a lot as a result of working on this content. So we're extremely thankful for everything they do. It is a very hard job and one that, they don't really get a lot of thanks for because nobody knows what they go through. And look, I can't speak to whether I don't know Jack. I can't speak to how he would have handled this situation had he been here this year. I can only speak to the Twitter that I saw when I joined in June.
So how can the public support you? I think everyone here wants to see Twitter succeed. I think that everyone here, if they're being honest with themselves, wants to prioritize, not just on Twitter, but across the internet, removing the most egregious human rights violations of the most vulnerable exploited on the internet. I think that we can all agree, this is the one thing we can all agree on, that these children exploited on Twitter and across the internet are definitely truly our most vulnerable. How can the general public help out with this issue? I kind of already know the answer, but I want you to say it, Ella. And what's your relationship with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, like? And if you could explain to folks exactly what that reporting process is looking like from Twitter to NCMEC, and then how the public can support you as well.
Sure. Well, in terms of the public, what I would say is it's extremely important that people take the time to report this content when they see it. We are not going to catch everything. I wish we could. We will get to the point where we will be extremely good at this, to the point where it will be very hard for anybody to ever post this kind of material on our platform. But as you know, there are billions and billions of conversations taking place, and so it's a hard job. And so we need help. If you find the content, please do report it. And so we've been looking at how do we make reporting easier as well. I know some folks have told me that just recently through some of the conversations I've had, she said, Saturday in the middle of the night, I sometimes see somebody say, I'm really having difficulty reporting this, or it seems to go nowhere. I definitely want to know if that's the case. My team wants to know. We've already started fixing things that people have told us have prevented them from getting this information to us faster.
You were right on that too. I was so appreciative. You went above and beyond with that, and you folks actually discovered a glitch because of that, and I'm so appreciative of that. Sorry, I just had to give you a little shine, Ella.
I appreciate that. And really, it's really my team that jumped on that right away. And I am so thankful to them for doing that because they genuinely care about this. I would say that in terms of NCMEC, so, we have been in compliance with reporting. We are required to report this type of material and the people who traffic it, obviously, right away. And we do our best to do that. The one thing that we are looking at is how do we automate some of this so that we can move even faster, because sometimes, especially if you're being targeted with this material, one of the most overwhelming aspects of this work is then having to painstakingly report very manually all of this, all of these users and accounts that you're seeing. And so I want to make sure that we're able to move fast enough to get the reports to law enforcement, to these organizations, so that they can do what they need to do. I want to make sure we're not a bottleneck in that process. And so we are looking at how do we do that faster and better, but we have been in compliance with reporting for the things we obviously detect. I think the issue has been we should have been detecting more and doing more, but we just didn't have the resources to do that.
It breaks my heart that there were never previously the resources, and I'm grateful that things are changing. And I know I'm not alone in saying that. I know there are a lot of people that have wanted these changes for a very long time, and I'm grateful. And I think the truth is that a lot of this journey started with John Doe number one, the brave survivor that reported and was denied by Twitter to remove his child sexual abuse material. And Ella, please don't actually comment on that because it is an open case. But I think his bravery sparked this specific journey for a lot of us. And so I'm just grateful to finally see these changes. I firmly believe that I am witnessing a miracle that I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. Ella, if you don't have anything else to say, which I would love, if you want to keep talking about this, we definitely can. I don't know where Elon is right now, and that's okay. But if you want to keep talking about this, the floor is yours. If not, we can move on to the bombshell report from Andrea.
Well, I appreciate having had a chance to speak, and I also appreciate everything you're doing to bring attention to this. I think it's important, and I also very much appreciate the recognition for the team's work. You know, as I said before, they don't often get recognized, and sometimes it breaks my heart to see the fact that nobody knows all the work that they're doing, and so I really appreciate you highlighting that.
I've always taken a stance with Twitter where I will applaud them when they do the right thing and call them out when they do the wrong thing. The problem is there wasn't that much to applaud previously, although I had previously applauded, even Jack, in public and in private when things had gone right. And I will be full savage if things go wrong because I understand the stakes. This is life or death for minor survivors around the globe. I do not take this issue lightly. And it makes me very happy that Twitter is finally staffed. And I appreciate you advocating for those changes as well, Ella, and Andrea as well. I know there are a lot of folks out here that have been advocating for these changes. So I appreciate folks on the inside advocating for them as well.
Well, and I will also say that, you know, we won't always get it right. Things will break, something will go wonky, and you absolutely should call us out on it. And I say this to the broader audience, of course, because we want to know if we're getting it wrong. And my commitment is that we will fix it. If it's going wrong, we will fix it.
I'll call it out, but my goal along this was not perfection. I'm not so naive to envision a world with no child sexual abuse material, child sexual exploitation in the digital space. It would only a naive person would think that, and only a person who didn't have a firm understanding of the crime would think that. All I wanted to see from Twitter was a sense of urgency and prioritizing this issue, which obviously they were not previously. And what really stinks is that we didn't have enough adults out there advocating for the voiceless. It really stinks that the previous Twitter didn't have that in place. But anyway, don't worry, Ella, I got you on the call out. But I'd rather just send it to you and then have you fix it than have to call it out. But don't worry, I will spare nobody's feelings if and when possible. And I think Elon knows that as well. He knows I'm a little bit of a tough cookie in that way. Okay, so Ella, if you have anything else to add, please do. If not, we're going to go ahead and read the report.
Can I ask you both a quick question just regarding the reporting process? I've noticed that they added child exploitation to that where you can go to reporting within Twitter. Is that new, or was that something I just missed before?
They have made some changes recently to the reporting flow. You're going to see a few other changes as well. They're testing different features on there, but you will see more and more of this option showing up in the different reporting flows that we have. We have actually several, one in the reporting center, one on the tweet.
Okay, so for the people who are DMing and commenting and asking how you can help, if you happen to come by this sort of content, make sure you go through the process, make sure you are reporting this. Now versus before, the reporting process is already just so much better. I get responses right away. I've already noticed a huge change. So just if anything, that's the part that I think you all can play. And if there's anything else, Ella, that they can do, if this content happens to be on their feed, if you can add to that, that would be great.
Will do. Thanks.
Cool. Sorry, I was a little bit distracted there. I just want to add that if folks are exposed to child sexual exploitation material, child sexual abuse material, please also report to the cyber tip line through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. That's NCMEC. So it'll be 2 reports. I know it's tedious, but if you really think about it, you could save a life. when these children are in these abusive situations, I consider it a life or death situation, and we cannot catch these predators until those reports are made. So I just wanted to say that, and I tweet out the cyber tip line constantly, as does the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And Ella, how long do you think till the reporting system is a little bit updated? If you can't estimate, that's okay.
I mean, we're really shooting for getting that done this year. And so hopefully by the end of the year, you'll see a massive change in that experience. That's what we're targeting. I can't guarantee it, but that's what we're targeting.
Awesome. I'm really, really excited to see these changes. It's unbelievable. So kind of bad news. Elon's a little bit busy right now, but there might be an opportunity for him to come in later. We're going to go over the. Don't say he's not going to come in yet, though. I'm just saying it's just taking. There's multiple things going on here. He's Elon Musk, so he gets kind of busy. He gets busy sometimes. But anyway, let's go ahead and go over the tweet thread.
I think John is going to go ahead and read over that if you're available.
Yeah, I'm here. So we'll start with the first one. Andrea said, "How the old Twitter failed the fight against children's sexual exploitation content, and more." While I am working as an independent researcher along Twitter's trust and safety team, led by Ms. Ella Irwin, and passionate managers like Gerald Dohadri, I think I said his name right, I want to share some information and update with you all. So here we go. Twitter is continuing its operations against accounts that publish child sexual abuse material. As I said, Twitter is focused on Spanish-speaking and Portuguese-speaking users in the past days, reduced over 90%.
I'm sorry to
the
interrupt.
impact.
Ella, can you explain to the people why it's important and what's a little bit different from the English speaking to the English speaking to Portuguese and other languages?
In terms of our ability to detect this content and having the different language aspects? Yeah, I mean, I think, first of all, we have a lot more work to do when it comes to detecting this across different languages. And so as we get information around what terms, search terms, hashtags, et cetera, are used across different languages, we are incorporating that very quickly. It actually helps to get that information because, of course, as much as we have different language speakers in the company, we don't know all of the different terms being used. And so we've actually been able to make significant progress in a number of these languages just within the last few weeks through the information we've been getting.
Thank you. Sorry, I heard that my sound has been wonky. Can you folks just throw up some emojis if my sound's okay? Just throw up some emojis. You can keep reading the thread, please.
Okay. So stop that. So it reduced over 90% the impact of these malicious accounts that use specific keywords and hashtags.
Can you repeat that just so folks can understand?
Yeah.
That's a pretty significant data point.
Yeah, so Twitter reduced over 90% of the impact of these malicious accounts that use specific keywords and hashtags.
So the question is, why wasn't that being done previously? Ella, you don't have to answer, but I mean, this is such an easy fix. Why on earth wasn't that being done by under previous leadership?
Well, it's actually not always easy. And, I'll use the example, and it kind of goes to the point that I was making before about how important it is to staff appropriately for these functions, because what might seem easy on the outside, like, oh, well, we just have to add this one particular, hashtag and or block this one particular search term, and that should be really straightforward. Well, sure, it is if it's very obvious, but the example I would use recently is a hashtag or term that we received where, in Spanish, it is a hashtag or a search term that is being used quite often by people who traffic this material. However, it is also a benign term that is used by many people for many other things. And So we have to be careful anytime we do things like this, that we don't just basically blow ourselves up in terms of our detection mechanisms by putting in something that's a benign term, and suddenly we can't, we have too many false positives, we can't actually take care of the things that matter. So there's a lot of analysis and a lot of work that's done before we make changes like this to ensure that it's the right thing to do, and to figure out creative solutions if, for example, it is a benign term, because of course that is oftentimes a tactic specifically to make it hard to detect. There's a lot of work done to figure out, okay, well, how do we adjust our models? How do we then look for specific risk signals in addition to those terms? Like, it can be extremely difficult, but it takes people to do all of that work.
Go ahead with the thread.
All right. Furthermore, Twitter is working on the following: a report form. As Eliza Bleu suggested, it will be easier and faster to report CSAM with clear reporting options. Ban evasion. The Twitter engineering team is working to detect.
Keep in mind, I had been asking for those changes for
Yes.
years.
Girl.
Years.
It's good to see it's finally happening. Continuing on, ban
Oh
evasion.
God, it's so good.
We'll need a drink after this. The Twitter engineering team is working to detect users that try to bypass the account suspension. Continuous updating and monitoring of suspected hashtags and keywords. Strengthening of cooperation with law enforcement. Listening to users' ideas and feedbacks. Operations against suspected networks that share CSAM. About F, read the following tweets. The more we work on child sexual abuse material on Twitter, the more we'll find the hell left by the old Twitter management. What I'm going to tell you now is insane. Hold on, I have to refresh because the rest is not showing for some reason. All right, here we go. We found several accounts that shared CSAM, including videos of children and teens involved in sexual activities. Sorry, hold on.
Ella, really quickly, do you think in the further transparency reports that are coming in the days, months ahead, do you think that we'll get a clear picture of how much of this child sexual abuse material was reported and not removed?
First of all, we will be publishing data even ahead of those transparency reports on this topic. So that's number one. So I think we'll start to get a better picture of the difference between what was happening before and what's happening now. Because there's a great, I'm super proud of the team, and you'll be able to see what impact they're having now. In terms of reports that weren't actioned, so I can tell you, we never have an intention even before to ever not work a report. But if there's a bug, such as the one that we talked about earlier, where somebody would report something and it would go into a black hole and nobody knew, then that would lead to these kind of issues. And so that's not okay. That's why it's important for us to fix those things and have people to fix those things quickly. But yes, we'll continue to report the information we were reporting before in the transparency reports, and we're going to provide additional information coming very soon around the work happening right now.
Awesome, thank you.
More than 95% of these accounts were created before Elon Musk bought Twitter. Some of these accounts have been active for years, even since 2017.
Can you read that one more time, please?
Sure thing. More than 95% of these accounts were created before Elon Musk bought Twitter. Some of these accounts have been active for years, even since 2017.
Can you explain to folks, Ella, why there would be child sexual abuse material on Twitter that long, or child sexual exploitation material on Twitter for that long, undetected and not removed previously?
I can't necessarily speak again to what was in place, last year or the year before 2017. But what I can say is that if you are not detecting things because you need to improve your detection mechanisms, clearly there's going to be content out there that you're just not seeing and you're missing. Now, there's also such a thing as sleeper accounts that are created and that are just not used until they're needed, or they're not used used frequently enough, and so that affects things as well. But having said that, there were a lot of opportunities to improve our detection mechanisms, that's for sure. I mean, I think we've seen that. That's why we've had the impact we've had now that we've been really ramping up our work in this area, is we're able to detect more now than we were able to detect before.
Thank you. I mean, I could probably go off on a full rant about why I think, I mean, and I don't, Ella, don't comment on this, but personally, Twitter was relying on Microsoft PhotoDNA way too much and the proprietary tools, and not implementing the free tools available from multiple other sources. There are multiple other tools that are so much better that they could have been implementing throughout this entire process and just weren't prioritizing it. So it's been heartbreaking to see them be asleep at the wheel about something so life or death. But I'm just grateful now for the changes. Okay, go ahead, Jana.
I just want to say that's insane that they wouldn't even utilize the full tools. Like that's nuts. Continuing on with the thread, these accounts that shared CSAM acted with impunity for years. The content of these accounts obtained over 10 million views on Twitter. Yes, 10 million views. They won't get any new views because Twitter has now taken down all these accounts.
Just to clarify on that 10 million views number, was that simply off of what you folks detected? I'm a little confused about that 10 million views number.
I can help, Ella.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, 10 million views is the sum of the different videos published by these accounts on Twitter. And what is said is these accounts received a lot of interactions, and these videos have been on Twitter for months, for years. So yeah, the good news is now are done, because what I think is, if we personally, if I start to talk about the past, it's so my comments are so negative, because as many of you know, I already worked on this stuff in September, and the experience even in September has been not really good with Twitter. But again, the good news is now there is Ella and the team, and these contents are gone. But really, my team, of course, my team and me, we are very I don't know what is the word to describe how we are stressed, because removing things related to years ago, it means that the old Twitter management didn't work well. So again, the work is huge. Don't pray for me, but pray for Ellen and her team, because they have a lot of work to do.
Andrea,
so it's not easy.
You explain to folks what you were working on in September and how you got involved with this issue in the first place, please?
Well, I worked on as an independent on many things related to social media. I worked on counterfeiting, digital propaganda, bots, even on terrorism. I remember years ago I worked on Islamic State, and I helped intelligence agencies through Europe to find Islamic State supporters in Europe and even abroad. So I got a lot of messages from people, even from you, saying that there were an issue with these contents on Twitter. So I started to investigate with my team, and you were right. So we found a lot of bad stuff. When Elon bought Twitter, he told me that for him, it was the priority to fix, and he told me if I want to help. And I think here there is why Elon is so special, and because working independent is really important, because when you are independent, you are like an external voice, but at the same time, it can be hard if you have a relationship like the case I have with Elon. But Elon is so special because he never asked anything. He never did any pressure on me to do something or to say this or say that. Never. He just said help to improve Twitter on this stuff. So that's why he is a very good man, because it's not easy to work independently with a company, but at the same time you are a friend with the owner. That's why Elon is very different from the other people. So I started to work independently. I shared the data with Ella, with the team, and the difference from the past is the older Twitter tried to hide, tried to say, no, it doesn't matter, this is not an issue. With Ella was so different. With her team is so different. She said, okay, thank you, let's work together. This is the huge difference in my opinion. So I mute myself and I continue to listen to you guys because I'm very happy to stay here. All woman, I'm very lucky today.
The funny thing is, I had to beg him to work on this issue. I was begging him privately, like, please work on this, please work on this. And then I kind of calmed down because at first you didn't want to work on this because you knew it would be too dark. And then you said, I will. And that to me says a lot about your character. And I appreciate you so, so much because you told me no. And then after you thought about it, you knew it was the right thing to do. And I know it's not easy. So I really, really appreciate it very much. And Ella, same. If you would have told me a year ago that we would all be sitting here having such open dialogue and transparency about these issues, I would have said you were crazy. Not you, but I mean, I just would have said whomever was crazy because there just was so little going on. I do want to state for the record, which I think is really important, and I said this to Elon as well, so I have no problem saying it here. Today, Jack Dorsey had said that what Elon had said wasn't true. The truth is that previous Twitter did remove some child sexual abuse material. I never want to give off the impression that they were not removing any at all. They just were not removing it at scale and not prioritizing the detection and removal. I think that that's a really important distinction to make. And I think also the other important distinction to make when we're speaking about these issues is that there is still going to be content out there. There is still going to be hashtags out there. I've seen some of the corporate media and other tweets trying to dispel like, oh, we can still find content. We can still find content. Well, number one, if you're seeing content, you should be reporting it to the cyber tip line and to Twitter as well. But the deal is the prioritization of it and the detection and removal process. That's what you really want to see get better. Like I said previously, you don't shoot necessarily for perfection because that's naive. Yeah, we'd all love to live in a world where no evil exists, but that's not what you want to shoot for here with Twitter. The other thing that I think is really important is to encourage the platform to be the best that it can be and encourage innovation. I think the more that we all use Twitter, the more advertisers will come back. And I firmly feel now, after watching Elon Musk tackle this issue since he's purchased the platform, I firmly feel that Twitter will very soon be the leader in the issue of removing child sexual exploitation and child sexual abuse. Elon's never paid me a penny. Elon's never paid me a penny, and I get nothing for saying this. I'm just letting folks know. I serve survivors. My loyalty is always with survivors. So this is not an Elon thing. This is a factual thing. Where I see the future of this going is Twitter will lead the way, and the rest of the internet will have to level up as a result. One of the ways that you can help Twitter is by using the platform. The more we use the platform, the more advertisers will come back, the more money they'll have to throw into these issues. Elon is taking a financial hit by making this the number one priority. I want to make that very clear. This is not a cool thing to tackle. This is not a fun thing to tackle. This is a nightmare of a thing to tackle, and it's not going to bring the praise and the advertisers. What brings the praise and the advertisers is, oh, this content creator came on and got 1 million views on a video about such and such. Like Ella was saying, this is a thankless job. That's not weren't her exact words, but this is a thankless job removing child sexual abuse material. But it is the only thing that the platform should really focus on removing at scale. And I think as the Twitter files have been exposed repeatedly, time and time again, we see that the platform has prioritized the censorship of non-illegal words, thoughts, and ideas from innocent citizens around the globe. That was their actual priority. So as these folks like Ella are out here begging for the resources and funding to remove child sexual abuse material, the platform prioritized the removal of words, non-illegal words, thoughts, and ideas, and the censorship of innocent citizens. So I want folks to remember that. That's why I get so mad about this. That's why I've been beating the same drum, because I watched folks get banned over using words that aren't even illegal to use. This is not, and I knew that this child sexual abuse material, let's reiterate, the child sexual abuse material had been on Twitter for 4 years, 10 million views. And yet if you said certain words, especially during the pandemic, especially during election season, you were removed instantly. And yet this child sexual abuse material was collecting views, putting minor survivors' lives at risk. I just want to make that clear how serious this was. I'm sorry I had to go off on my little rant. So anyway, listen, I firmly feel after dealing with this for so long that Twitter 2.0 will set the standard of where we go in the future. And I think ultimately this will be really amazing for humanity. I truly do. I believe that in my heart. And I know a lot of you folks listening know I'm laser focused on this. And I won't lie to you. That's why a lot of you love me, is because you can trust me, because you know I'm not going to lie to you about this. Sorry, that's my soapbox, Jonna, if you want to keep reading.
And I wanted just to add too, I was one of the accounts that was suspended in 2020 when I asked Elon, he was giving out ventilators, 4 ventilators for my state. Right after he replied to me, no warning, no email, nothing. Twitter completely shut me down. And, the fact that they allowed a lot of this child pornography and sexual material on here, but they just randomly censor people and shadow ban people. They had the tools, but they just, like you said, they chose to go after innocent people, for whatever reasons. But yeah, just continuing on with the thread here, Andrea said, I found that the old Twitter, in many cases related to child sexual abuse material published on the platform by malicious users, instead of suspending the whole account, just removed the tweet. Now Twitter, under Elon Musk's leadership, directly suspends the accounts. In his final tweet, Elon Musk is constantly updated about the progress. 2 days ago, he authorized additional measures to fight child abuse on the platform. Old management had other priorities, but for the new Twitter, children's safety is number one.
Ella, do you have any response to just that thread?
I mean, I agree. I think that focusing on the right things helps you do better. And I think there were a lot of things that the company was trying to do, and it lost sight in some respects of the priorities. I mean, the reality is when you refuse to staff things that are this important and you're still staffing other things, like a product launch that may not be as critical, and meanwhile you've got all of this going on, or some other program that is nowhere near as critical as some of these issues. The reality is you've lost sight of the priorities. Your priorities are misplaced. And so the user protection, keeping illegal content off the platform should always be number one.
Amen. Andrea, do you have anything else to add?
No, well, in my view, on the long term, what Twitter is doing now will be useful for the users, but at the same time, it's not false if I say that what Twitter is doing is saving lives, because I personally watched some of the material, and what I can say is so disturbing, but at the same time, Twitter, with the law enforcement all around the world, can really save children. So for me, this matter, because at the end of the day, people like Ella, people working on these things, they spend their day thinking how they can improve the world, because we know the world is not a place where everything is perfect. There are a lot of issues. There are a lot of dangerous people. So it's very stressing as job. But if you take this role, you have a huge responsibility, but I think you have also a huge gratitude from the people that understand that is a very important role in the society. If you see what Twitter did in the past, probably you will feel sad, you will feel angry. Then if you start to ask the older leadership, they will say that they did all good, they did their best. So, but in reality, we know that it's a bit different. But again, from what I know, everything that Twitter is doing right now is really improving, not just the platform, but even some people's lives. So I think it's great. I'm sorry if I talk slowly and my
Keep
English
it real
is
with the
not the
keep it
best.
real with the people. You
It's
haven't slept in
it's
days.
like it's like 2 a.m. here. I work all the day, so probably if we talked about I don't know, football, or you asked me to sing a song, probably I was more excited. But talking about this stuff at the 2 a.m. is not the best thing in the world, because while I talk about this stuff, I uh, I see something very horrible. So not not a very easy stuff.
It's when you seek that content, especially repeatedly, it's very hard. And I really appreciate it. I know it's been affecting you deeply, and I really, really appreciate you doing this. And as adults, sometimes we're put in situations that are hard, that are dark, that almost seem like they can't be real. But as adults, we have to protect the world's most vulnerable. We have to protect the most vulnerable. In this case, it's children. In this case, it's children, and that's it. So sometimes we have to pull up our pants and pull up our in my case it's big girl pants, and handle business for the kids, which should have been being done right along at Twitter. You know, you folks wouldn't be cleaning up this mess if they'd done what they needed to do in the first place. It sucks. It sucks that you folks are put in a position where you have to march through the effing mud. I mean, these people are working non-stop. And honestly, I can tell you, I don't know if it's because of pressure that Elon's put on them. I think it's because they really want to do it. They want to get the job done. So, you know, people are saying things about me like, oh, Eliza simp for Elon or whatever. No, I'm just calling a spade a spade. I'm watching these people walk through hell. This man has walked through hell to give this report today. So, so that's why I'm giving them their flowers. That's why I'm giving them their credit where it's due. Anyway, I really, really appreciate you folks today. I think, so Elon got a little bit busy, and I'm hoping as soon as he's not busy anymore, he's gonna pop in and just speak on this. If not, I'll talk to him about doing another space. I think we are going to actually merge with another space that's going on. I really, really appreciate. I wanted to keep this space separate tonight because I wanted to just solely focus on the issue of child sexual exploitation on Twitter. I feel that this conversation deserves its own space, its own room. I mean, I don't think that this conversation is so intense and been such a problem for the platform for so long, that it almost does a disservice to survivors to mush the conversation in with the other Twitter files. I feel that this conversation should be separate, for the survivors especially impacted by this crime. They deserve that reverence. I think that the minor survivors exploited on Twitter deserve that reverence of being separate from all the other bullshit that's happened on this platform, you know, because it's that serious. Jonna, if you raise your hand, and then Tara, if you want to speak to the other space and let them know we're probably ready to merge.
I did have a question.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. So Ella, do you think Twitter would make the tools that you develop to detect CSE freely available to other platforms? like, let's say Facebook or Instagram decide, hey, you know what, we want to do this too. Like, what can we do?
It's funny that you asked that. I will take a moment to give kudos to other trust and safety leaders across different organizations who have reached out to me directly in the last week and said, how can we help? How can we work together? What can we utilize? We're all very serious about this. We want to take action. And as I said at the very beginning, it's partnerships across the industry, across the world, that actually help you stop this and be more effective. And so we absolutely welcome the partnerships with other organizations. They may have tools that we can utilize, right? It's not one way. And so my genuine hope is we have some calls getting set up for next week. My genuine hope is that we truly can start partnering more, not just with organizations that focus on this, but also other companies in our space that can help us be even more effective, and vice versa.
Thank you.
And just to let everybody know, behind the scenes, I do my my work, and I have been checking. Twitter's been setting up the meetings. They're setting up the meetings. I've been checking just to make sure. I want everyone to know I haven't dropped the ball on kind of getting my little dirt and finding out what's going on, because I don't want anybody lying to me. I'm keeping my finger on the pulse. I really am, because I don't want to be bamboozled this time. And I swear to God on my life, I will not be made a fool out of this. And just so you folks know, Elon Musk did get a message to me 2 days before he purchased Twitter, before it was done, before the final sale was done, 2 days previously. And he said, I'm going to make child sexual abuse, the removal of child sexual abuse material, my number 1 priority. And I said, okay, well, you got to show me, because the three CEOs now have told me the same line. So let's see it. And then he showed me. So I'm seeing that it's happening right in front of my face. And I was ready to be a hater. I was ready to fight him with every. You folks know I go hard. I do not pause. All gas, no brakes. And then Elon showed me. And then they kept showing me, and they keep showing me, and they keep coming to me and saying, hey, we're changing this. Hey, what do you think about this? So I guess the proof is in the pudding.
Hey, Elon might be coming on in a moment. So,
okay, so we'll just stay live here. And so that's the truth. Elon told me, and I said, I love that. Thank you. But I need you to show me. And then he did. So
I was witnessing that, Eliza, real time, and I was honestly scared for Elon's life. I was witnessing Eliza's fire as
I'm
he
peaceful.
was
I'm peaceful and lawful. I'm a peaceful, lawful woman. But I swear to God, I'll get it done. I'm a peaceful and lawful woman. I love peace, and I'll always abide by the law, but I love these survivors, and I swear to God, I'd go to hell and back for them. You look in the eyes of these minor survivors. You speak to their mother. Speak to one of these survivors' mother. That's what my message was today to Jack. Like, don't you think you owe John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 an apology? Like, come on now. Look in the eyes of these mothers, eyes filled with tears. All they want is this child sexual abuse material to be removed off of Twitter, an American tech company. Let's call this what it is. This is an American tech company. And we can't even hold our own accountable. And they were unwilling to take care of the world's most vulnerable. Many of these children will not even know that they were sexually exploited on Twitter. Some of these children will never own a phone. This child sexual exploitation happens in lands far away from the United States, and here as well, in our own hometowns. Some of these children will never even know that their child sexual abuse and exploitation material was on Twitter. It's up to us to speak for them and to stand up for them. So yeah, I'd be scared of me too. And my next project, because frankly, I'm going to keep an eye on Twitter. But as far as I'm concerned, my work here is done. That's how my goal was to raise awareness and to advocate for the minor survivors of Twitter. And my work here, as far as I'm concerned, is done. Besides sort of checking in, really, and doing journalism and giving feedback whenever I can be of help and of service. my next project, I will not be kind. I will not be kind. And I've learned a lot fighting Twitter. And ultimately, if you watch my tweets, I fought Twitter because I love Twitter, because I saw what they could be. I never wanted to fight Jack Dorsey. I saw his baby fumbling the ball. And it broke my heart. Not only it just broke my heart for the minor survivors. It was such a weak spot. So, but it was never a hate for Twitter. It was a demand that what I love do better and be the best platform that they could be. And there's a reason for that. I joined Twitter for fun. My ex-boyfriend told me to join because I was feeding him some viral tweets. So I joined Twitter for fun and just to shitpost with the homies. And, during the pandemic, it gave me a voice as a survivor. It allowed me the opportunity. Twitter allowed me the opportunity to connect with survivors in 7 countries during the global pandemic through the DMs and serve them to the best of my ability using, Google Translate and all different types of means, So I saw the potential in Twitter with my own eyes, and it gave me a voice. That's why I wanted Twitter to succeed. But this one area was an area that they were severely lacking. On top of that, I saw the fact that if Twitter did not address this issue with a sense of urgency, I knew that the governments around the world would use this as a Trojan horse, this very real issue and this very real crime as a Trojan horse to push to end digital privacy rights on Twitter. This is very serious and not something to be taken lightly. And so that's why I'm so grateful. I don't think folks fully understand what a big deal this is. This isn't just children are going to be saved, which is also amazing. This is also like Ella's stopping this situation before the governments come in and say, no, we're coming in and taking over Twitter. That's the truth. That's how serious, that's how high these stakes are. And I probably sound crazy when I talk about that, but I probably sounded crazy when I've talked right along, and basically everything I've talked about previously has come true, and no one can take that away. So anyway, do we know how long? Let me see about Elon. Sorry, you guys, I'm so passionate about this. I love these survivors so much. When you look them in the eye, I mean, there's nothing will light you on fire like the tears of a mother. I'm telling you. You listen to these mothers, I swear, you listen to these mothers. The children, the survivors almost deal with it a little bit better. That's the truth. The survivors, I don't want to say they're okay because that's not the truth, but they almost
Eliza,
yeah.
You were, even though you weren't a child when it happened to you, you were trafficked,
When I was originally trafficked, I was a minor.
Oh, you were? I didn't know that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But, it is what it is.
Yes. But, we got people like you advocating, if it wasn't for you, we all would not be in this space right now. So I want you to.
I'm grateful all of you came along this journey with me. It's been a long road, and I'd do it all over again. Every second was worth it. And I swear to God, this particular project with Twitter almost took me to the brink of insanity.
I want to ask Eliza.
Hold on, Andrea wants to speak.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Andrea.
No, I just want to say hi to Eva Fox. She is my friend, and she is part of we have Claudius Nero's legend, so it's very important to say to a very good friend. Just that.
Yeah, Eva Fox has been amazing. A lot of these independent journalists really helped me out as I was trying to get the word out. That's why, hello, Elon, welcome to this space. Let me tell you, your employees were doing an incredible job while you were not around.
Thanks. Sorry, I was just on a Tesla board call, so I would have joined earlier, but just had a critical Tesla matter to deal with. So, I guess first of all, just like thanks for bringing this issue to light and helping us sort of root it out. on Twitter. I was actually really shocked to learn about it, and well, this is just obviously, like I said, top priority. Twitter is to get rid of it. This is literally top priority in the whole company. Is that Twitter cannot be used for child exploitation. I think that just obviously should be the number one priority. Yeah, it's insane that for it not to be the number one priority.
Elon, when child sexual abuse material and exploitation is on Twitter or any platform, but especially since we're talking about Twitter, it is a matter of life and death for these minor survivors. And these minor survivors have deserved right along for this platform to make this their top priority. And I truly feel in my heart that Twitter will set the standard, and this will help to, I know already, I can see the innovation. I can see it happening so quickly, Elon. It's a miracle. And this will set the standard across the internet, and this will ultimately be very good for humanity. Thank you so much. And I can't speak for every survivor, but I can speak for myself. This is something we have all been waiting for a very long time. So thank you. Ella has gotten her flowers since we've been in here. We've been giving her praise. We've been going over the report today. I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to look at it or if you had any thoughts.
No, unfortunately, I've just been at work all day, so this is the first moment that I've had free. But I will take a look at it, and yeah, I absolutely certainly have my commitment that the number priority on the whole system is, any kind of child exploitation stuff. It's got to go. So.
It's exciting. It's ultimately gonna save lives. I mean, it's pretty incredible how this works. When the child sexual abuse material is detected and removed in the manner that it's supposed to be off of Twitter, the report goes to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. It goes to NCMEC, and then NCMEC contacts the appropriate law enforcement globally, and then they go get the bad guys. And one of the fun parts of my Twitter activism and advocacy is that I also post arrests. And so if folks want to look up, cyber tip line arrests, please do. They're happening globally all the time. And I think this is a new day and time for Twitter. There's a new sheriff in town. And I think if you're a child predator, you can come around, fuck around and find out, because we'll handle business. And that's the message. Sorry, Elon, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I think that's the truth. I think these predators have had an opportunity for a little bit too long, and it's time to put a lot of bad people away. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So, I mean, like, you have my commitment, the full resources of Twitter, whatever it takes, is on board with this. And like I said, number one priority. So.
I don't think it stops with Twitter either, Eliza. I know you said your work here is done, but there are so many other platforms where this is a major rampant problem that they're not taking care of. And I hope that they will follow your lead, Elon and Eliza.
I'm going to keep up with Twitter, but let it be known, I've said it publicly and I'll say it again. There are thousands of survivors of the United Nations globally. So my next project is to take on the United Nations, and I will win. So
Sounds good.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Elon. I appreciate you so much making this number one priority. Lives will be saved. You've put really good people in charge. I'm going to give you an opportunity to look at this Bombshell report. It's freaking insane. I don't know if you want to talk about what happened with Jack today. Ella kind of spoke a little bit about it, but I mean, is there a chance that maybe he was in the dark so much that he just truly doesn't know what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. I mean, like Jack's a friend of mine, and I think Jack's a good person. So, but I think he wasn't. He was just not maybe not present at Twitter as much as he perhaps should have been in this regard. So, like, I don't think that Jack was doing anything deliberately bad, but I think there was a lot going on that he wasn't aware of, and perhaps perhaps should have been. But it's a pretty significant disconnect here. So, yeah. Anyway,
I told you, and I've been very public, Jack actually tried to help me out in my fight. So it's not like he was completely hands off or didn't care. And I think that Elon and I both agree, like, we actually like Jack. We think he's a good person. It's just with this particular issue, I'm not really 100% sure what happened. And I hope that we find out more as Twitter Files is exposed, and as as the platform keeps updating on the child sexual exploitation problem. I hope that more is revealed with that. But I don't think I just don't want to dog out Jack, because I actually like Jack, and he actually did try to help me. Yeah,
exactly. Feel the same way. So, well, we're going to be on it big time going forward. So, thanks for raising this issue, and please keep raising it, until it is addressed, and it's probably going to be an ongoing battle. So we're just going to have to keep fighting it over time. So, yep.
I do have a question. Eliza, Elon, or Ella, any of y'all can answer this, but what are some things that parents and caretakers of children should know to protect their children in their care, especially with their access and use of social media?
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, Elon. I'm going to answer this one and then you could chime in if you want, but it's kind of my. So the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has it depends on the age of the children and what age they're on. A lot of people like to say, oh, don't let your kids on social media. Okay, well, this is reality. This is a real world. Right. So we have to live in reality. Yeah. Using safety settings is crucial. Having an open and honest dialogue with your children is very important. Just having an open conversation, depending on the age. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has some great cartoons for very young kids about internet safety. It's pretty cool, actually. They started showing those in schools as well, the cartoons, and the cartoons are really fun and interactive. And then also for older children, there are some great documentaries like Sextortion. I think having an open and honest dialogue with your children is the best way, and just keeping up with them. Technology is constantly changing. Facebook and Instagram just sort of updated some of their safety features, especially Instagram. That was a really, really big deal. Get involved in your children's lives. The truth is that Twitter is not responsible for the initial abuse. Twitter is not responsible for the initial sexual exploitation. Twitter is only responsible when the child sexual abuse and exploitation ends up on the platform. So before then, that is the parents and caregivers' responsibility, the family's responsibility to and look after the children and make sure that they know what their children are doing online. Right now, the biggest threat is going to be sextortion for young teenage boys specifically. It can happen to anyone, sextortion, but young teenage boys specifically. The FBI's been screaming about sextortion, and I'm not a big fan of the FBI, but I can also confirm that that sextortion is one of our biggest threats for our young folks right now. And unfortunately, we are seeing deaths by suicide from young children. That's another thing too. When it comes to sextortion, children are dying by suicide because they're terrified to tell their parents. If you look over the John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 case from Twitter, John Doe, number one, when he was reporting to Twitter, was on the brink of suicide because he was embarrassed. He was traumatized. That video from Twitter was going around his church. It was going around his school. He was going to school. And so children, unfortunately, are dying by suicide because they are being sextorted. So this starts at home. We have to educate and look after our own children and our own communities.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Elon, you probably never thought you'd be. You're probably like, look, I just want to go to Mars. How did I end up in this specific conversation? But
it wasn't on my bingo card.
Listen,
it wasn't in the force.
For desperate measures, Elon. I needed your help. I needed your help specifically because I always knew that if you started tackling the issue, you would put, not you specifically, but you would hire the right individuals for the job, because that's one of your gifts. And that's been my experience here with Twitter so far. I never thought any of these things would be possible here with Twitter. I've seen miracles happen, and I mean, I'm trying not to be hyperbolic, but the data speaks for itself. What do you think, Elon, about the corporate media covering this issue negatively? The running narrative is that you've, axed most of the child's safety staff, that what do you think about that?
Well, it would have been difficult to axe people that didn't exist, since we reallocated resources within the company. And it was basically, as you know, had almost no resources. We shifted allocation within the company so that there were resources on child exploitation that there weren't before. So the narrative, it's the total opposite of what one sees in the media. It's gone from, as you know, and because you monitor it, it's a gigantic improvement is what's actually happened. So I don't know. This certainly is not improving people's trust in the media, or shouldn't, because they're literally saying the exact opposite of what's actually going on. And I've been clear internally over and over again that it is our top priority. So there's not, and you see, and actions speak louder than words. And we've taken actions as you've outlined, and we will continue to take actions. And we'll do whatever it takes to address this issue. And you have a direct line to me and on this matter, and so is Andrea and others. And so Twitter will be better than anyone else, and hopefully set an example for how other social media networks should be operating.
I would argue Twitter already is better than everyone else, and your transparency speaks volumes versus other platforms and Twitter 1.0. We had no transparency. We had no knowledge of what was happening behind the scenes. And prior to you getting here, we didn't even have the ability to report tweets as child, exploitation material, which is now already implemented. So thank you to you and your team for making that happen.
I also want to thank you. When Eliza told me about the hashtags and I interviewed her for that article, and I researched those hashtags, I breathed a sigh of release when I saw absolutely nothing, especially on the videos and photos tabs. I was actually in tears over that. So because I was prepared for the worst just writing that article. So thank you and your team for getting that off of this app.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, it's a top priority of the company, and the moment you see anything that we should take action on, I'll personally make sure it happens. So thanks for your help in this regard, and we'll keep at it.
Great. Thank you again. Elon, do you have any questions for us about what you might have missed when you were on your call? I'm
going to read the report, and
how are you is a good question, Elon.
Big one?
Asking me how are you is a good question, because I'm literally dying.
This poor Andrea's been up for like days and is in full zombie mode. But on top of that, he's traumatized. He's traumatized from viewing this content.
Man, this sounds rough.
He sent me, to be completely transparent, folks, and I tweeted something about this as well. We went back and forth as to what they could publish and put up because I was nervous about them posting content that could identify potential victims. When a victim's imagery is out, or victim or survivor's imagery is out in public like that, it could be life or death. The abuser could sees the victim as a liability, so they'll do whatever they need to do to end that life. So that was sort of one of the reasons he's been putting himself in a lot of stress and traumatizing himself so much by looking at this content. It's pretty heartbreaking that it was left. Yeah, Elon, please take care of the mental health of your staff looking at this content and dealing with these issues, because we need them for the long game, not short. This is going to be a long haul, not a sprint, you know?
Sure, 100%. Totally.
Sorry, not trying to tell you what to do, but you know, gotta look out for gotta look out for the people. How do you feel, Elon, that this issue has almost virtually completely been covered by independent journalists? There was a little bit of coverage over the past decade about the child sexual abuse material problem on Twitter, but virtually there was very, very little. I was always shocked at how little the corporate media wanted to cover this issue, even after the John Doe 1 and John Doe 2 case dropped. Um, how do you feel about independent journalists
Well,
taking this
yeah.
lead?
In general, I'm a huge fan of citizen journalism, because it seems like there's the narrative in terms of like what actually gets put in newspapers is set by maybe half a dozen or maybe even as few as three editor-in-chiefs of like say the Washington Post, the New York Times, and the Wall Street Journal. And then if it's not important to them, then it just doesn't show up. So, but with Twitter, there's an opportunity for the citizens to come together and publish and things that are important to the people. And so I think that's actually incredibly powerful, and it's a new thing that we want to encourage as much as possible. That's why we want to have like long form tweets, and so you can actually write something in depth, and figure out ways to get just high quality reporting on whatever the matter is surfaced, so people can actually see it. So anyway, I'm a big fan of citizen journalism in general, and the real-time nature of Twitter as well. So it's interactive as opposed to say a newspaper article, which is kind of a one-way. That's just information flowing one way towards people, but with no real ability to interact with that information. And actually, the thing is that sometimes people are like, well, citizen journalism isn't that like someone who's not like an expert journalist? I'm like, well, actually, no, because citizen journalism is like people writing who really know about the subject, who are expert in the subject being written about, and maybe then they're not like then go to journalism school but they actually are much better experts in the area of that's being written or talked about. So this is actually higher quality information, I think, than would come from a newspaper, not lower quality.
Elon, I have a question for you. When you read the articles that they say, for instance, you are doing nothing against this topic, but in reality you are doing, and you are doing well, how do you feel?
Well, I mean, I've been attacked so many times in the media, it's insane. So, I mean, that's not to say I don't have feelings, and sometimes it is quite hurtful to read things that are the total opposite of the truth. But I am, there is the ability on Twitter to correct it, and for me, for at times when I'm wrong, to be corrected in turn by others on Twitter. So I think, but that's where I think as Twitter improves the signal to noise, where it's like more and more useful information, that is where you learn things where it's entertaining or beautiful, and we obviously want to get rid of like scams and spam and any kind of exploitation. I think it'd be really something wonderful, and a good force for good for civilization. That's the vision for Twitter. And I think it'd also be like way more positive than the press. Like if you read the newspapers, it's like it's like in any given newspaper, what percentage of the articles are positive about anything at all? Almost all the articles are negative. So then, I mean, that's the thing that tends to happen is if there's a subject that's newsworthy, like let's say like you're just writing about, like my name will just generate clicks, right? So if you've got a combination of like say like my name that will generate clicks, and then and then a newspaper having a very negative bias in general, then this is just going to result in a lot of negative stories. It's just like a machine, basically. So, but like I said, we can correct this on Twitter, and I think over time, as people, if we're doing our job well at Twitter, then people will increasingly see Twitter as the source of truth, and to understand what's really going on, and they will turn away from traditional media and more towards Twitter, and that will provide a competitive force for other media to be more truthful, or they will simply keep losing more and more of the public's attention.
Elon, what made you want to purchase Twitter? What was the exact thing that made you want to purchase Twitter? And what was the exact moment that you realized you wanted to make the removal of child sexual exploitation your top priority at Twitter?
Well, the two are separate, because I didn't actually know about the child sexual exploitations, the severity of the issue. My concern was just in general that Twitter seemed to be drifting in a bad direction. It just I can't quite put my finger on it. It's not like there was one moment. It's like sometimes people's like, oh, it was the Babylon Bee got banned. Like, listen, this is I'm not paying $44 billion to reinstate a satire website. Okay, that would be insane. Babylon Bee is fine, but it's not like that's not the reason. So it's just like we need to have, like I said, like a digital public square that is maximally inclusive of the population, where people feel like they can have their say, and that there's not some sort of thumb on the scale, maybe hiding bad information or being politically in one direction or another, but that it's a fair and level playing field. And it felt like the playing field was just tilting more and more, and there was less attention to bad things that were going on. I don't know, it made me worried about the future of civilization, frankly. So I was like, okay, man, this really needs to go in a good direction, but it just seems to be going in a steadily worse direction over time. I better try to do something about it, and that's what prompted the sort of acquisition offer. And then it was a few weeks after that maybe even a week after that the magnitude of the child sexual exploitation stuff became apparent. And then as soon as I learned that, I was like, wait a second, this is crazy. It's got to be priority number one. And Eliza, you and Andrea were like key in bringing that forward, and then Ella internally. So thank you for doing that. And as soon as that became apparent, we immediately made it number one priority. And with your help, we've made a lot of progress, and we'll keep at it. So it's going to be a constant battle, but we'll keep at it.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I mean, it's been my honor to serve my fellow survivors. I'd do it all again in a heartbeat, and it wasn't easy. How involved have three-letter agencies been behind the scenes of Twitter? I'm sorry, I'm shifting gears here, but I have to know, FBI, NSA, CIA. Now that you've had an opportunity to look under the hood a little bit, what exactly are we looking at as American citizens and citizens of the globe with our three-letter agencies behind the scenes at Twitter?
Well, first I'd say, like, it's probably not the case that those agencies are monolithic in that it's, they're big agencies. I've had some interaction with the FBI over the years, but I've had more interaction with the CIA, frankly, actually, my general perception of people at the CIA is that they're good people. I mean, maybe not everyone's good, but the people that I've met at the CIA are good. I've met fewer people at the FBI, but I'm sure there are a lot of good people at the FBI, and most people probably got good motivations. I haven't seen any sort of smoking gun thing yet, but if we do find something that shows questionable collusion, then we will surface it and bring it to light. So, yeah.
Do you believe, sorry, Elon, do you believe that there's a situation with Twitter that will be revealed with the Twitter files where the United States government infringed on any American citizens' First Amendment right?
It's certainly possible. I think we're just trying to get to the bottom of that, and if that turns out to be the case, we will certainly bring it to light.
Sorry, I shifted gears, but we're here now. The other Twitter files dropped today. I know folks are going to be like, oh, you're not asking Elon these questions. My primary focus is always going to be, child sexual exploitation on Twitter, but these other issues are so captivating to me because I'm getting an opportunity through the Twitter files to see how Twitter was censoring, innocent citizens' speech, words, thoughts, ideas, while refusing to remove the human rights violation of child sexual abuse material and exploitation at scale.
Yeah, I mean that is, it's unbelievable. Frankly, it's terrible. So, well, I mean, our goal is to address these issues. Like I said, child sexual exploitation stuff is number one priority, and then just also ensuring that Twitter is an even playing field from a political standpoint, so there's no preference for one party or another, domestically or internationally, and in general, like I said, to try to serve as much good as possible for the future of civilization. I mean, I have only been on the job for about 5 weeks here, so it's not a long time, but I think we've made a lot of progress in that time, and I think that progress will accelerate.
I'm very proud of you. You gave me the Elon effect with the child sexual exploitation. I can't wait to see. I'm very proud of you. I am, and I appreciate it. And I'm proud of the team that you've assembled, and I have a feeling I will continue to be proud of you. You've blown my mind, and I was Twitter's biggest hater. The receipts show that I was Twitter's biggest hater. So I'm so proud of you, Elon. This is such a big deal, and I think as time passes, you'll see lives that are saved as a result of these changes. And I'm not saying that lightly. You will see children's lives are saved as a result of these changes at Twitter. And so.
Well, that's great. I mean, hopefully lives are saved and lives are also improved. And just, like I said, we want to make this a force for good. So it's not going to be perfect, but we'll try our damnedest to make sure it's good. And I think I'm pretty good at executing on the technology front. So I feel like, together with the rest of the Twitter team, we can really make a difference here. So I gotta sign off at this point, but as always, I'm available if there's any action we need to take. And thanks again for all your help.
Thank you so much, Elon. I know your time is very valuable and very precious, and we appreciate you popping on today. And hopefully you get a chance to look at that report. Your mind will be blown. Your mind will be blown.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's not great.
Okay.
I mean, it's great it's great what they've done, but it's not great what I mean, we all knew what it was, but I think to see it in raw data is a little different. So anyway, thank you so much, Elon.
Thank you, Elon. Thank you, Elon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Elon.
Talk to you again soon, Elon. Thank you so much.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. I'm actually leaving as well. I've been at work this entire time, and I have to leave now because some of the survivors are coming back to the house. So I gotta leave before they come back. But thank you so much to everyone who has supported this mission. Thank you so much to everyone who has supported me as a survivor. It really means a lot. And I think we're just beginning. We're just beginning. And I want to leave off with this message. As I was looking at Andrea's report today, early this morning, he started giving me information. I was sad and my heart was broken. But then I realized that we live in a time where we can have these conversations openly, and we can speak to our kids and hopefully prevent this crime from happening in the first place. So although what you are looking at and what you're going to see exposed through Twitter over the coming months and days is difficult to look at and difficult to see, I want you to remember that we live in a time where we can put this information out and we can have these open and honest dialogues in public. And this is true change. And the more we speak about these issues in public, and the more survivors step forward for the healing that they deserve, and the more that we're there for each other, the less and less we'll see this happen. Education, prevention, and awareness is how we are going to stop this. And Elon's on board, and that's a pretty good start. So thank you to everyone. I love you all so, so much. You mean so much to me. And that's all I got to say. I got to leave because I'm at work and I got to leave the house by 8. But I love everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. This space was recorded, so it will be up for listening if you missed any part of it. There were some great parts of the space tonight. Ella, the head of trust and safety around these issues, spoke quite a lot. And Andrea, who's been working on this as well. I want to thank you to the ladies that helped serve me, to Amanda, Jonna, and Tara. Tara. Today, you guys put up with me while I was trying to get this all organized with Elon and everybody else. Like, y'all have my back, and I love you for it. Thank you. And I will talk to y'all later. I'll keep you posted. And next time we have an update from Twitter about child sexual exploitation. Thank you.
Wow, that was phenomenal. I'm not going to end it quite yet because I know that Jonna, are you still with me,
Yep,
Jonna?
I'm
You're still
still
here, right?
here. Yeah. Can you hear me?
How much time do you have? I'm just curious.
I'm pretty much cool. Like, I'm just sitting here with y'all. Like, no time limit. But I will say this, you know, and I wanted to tell Eliza this, but I didn't want to call her out in the space. She called me like a couple weeks ago, and she's like, I know you would support Elon, but just, you know, if I have to fight him for this, I will fight him, and I'm prepared. And I was like, give him a chance. Give him a chance. I was like, give him a chance. He made you a promise. Give him a chance. And, you know, I'm glad to see, you know, he's keeping his word. And it really means a lot to me because my thing is, if you make a promise, you got to keep that promise, you know, unless like something happens and you can't, like, but if just keep the promise, you know. And
even tonight, he said he had an emergency to deal with Tesla, and he still kept his promise and showed up tonight. I mean, he is just a man of his word, a man of integrity, to follow through, you know, and see Eliza have her moment to shine, and not just shine for herself, but for the other survivors who she represents, some who, you know, are not public with what they've been through. For her to have the ability to do that and be their guiding light through all of this is just, I mean, for Elon to get behind that, it's just been phenomenal. And to have the honor to even be asked to host this space, I mean, honestly, I could leave Twitter right now and be happy. Honestly, this was the best
Eliza,
moment in all of Twitter world for me.
I met Eliza in 2020. Actually, a friend of mine who we met her together is listening. And he actually performed. So we did this. It was a Tesla event in 2020 where they had the longest. We were trying to get the Guinness World Record of the longest Tesla train, and I was covering it when I was writing for Clean Technica, and we raised, I think it was 10,000 or 12,000 for our Underground Railroad. And Eliza spoke, and that's when I met her. And so I met her in person, and she's just phenomenal. Like, her whole aura, her passion, And what she told me, you can look it up in her blog. I think it's Locals, Eliza's locals.com. I have to find it. But she said, if Elon could do this, Elon could end this for Twitter. She said that in that blog 2 years ago in 2020. And none of us, thought Elon was going to, buy Twitter back then. Like, that wasn't even on the table.
Yeah, when you look back at the paper trail and, the things that we don't even see that were happening behind the scenes and the amount of effort and work that people have put in and passion. I mean, just hearing Eliza get emotional, I get emotional. It's just, this is a huge deal. And so many people, are struck by this. And it's, again, something that's very private, but at the same time, it should be represented openly. And the way that Elon Musk has already, within the last month, turned Twitter around, made it so transparent. We know details that we never were allowed to know before. We were made to feel like we were crazy people for even thinking that we were being shadow banned and all of those things. And to bring topics like this to the forefront and make them the priority of the platform just goes to show you this is just the beginning. I am very excited for the future of Twitter. Jonna, I was going to ask you if you see requests, if you want to bring a couple people up. I know there were so many people who wanted to come up, and I see 614 requests, but can't see any of them. I know Ian would have liked to come up and speak, and I won't keep it going too long, but maybe we can just have some commentary for a little bit. There's a lot to digest after today between this space with Eliza and Andrea's work, that's pinned to the top. If you haven't, please go retweet that. Get lots of eyes on that thread regarding what has happened and what happened in the past with Twitter in regard to the CSE content. And then we could also hopefully go over a little bit of what Eliza was bringing up as far as, Twitter Files 3.0 that were released at the same time. It was happening simultaneously. So Mario had a wonderful space going. I was able to go there momentarily and then came to do this planned space with Eliza.
It's only showing 19 requests for me.
Okay, good. Because I was 600 requests.
But my phone
Friends,
is glitching. Like, I try to
friends.
click around.
John, sorry, I'm going to sleep. It's 3 a.m. here.
Oh,
and,
get you some sleep,
it's
Andrea.
too
Yes.
late for
You
me.
need to get sleep. Yes, go to sleep. Yes.
So sorry. Thank you,
No,
everyone.
don't apologize.
For organizing this moment of conversation. Thanks for everyone that joined us. And I don't know, we will see you on Twitter.
Yes.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank
day.
you for the work you're doing. I know it's not easy work, and you should
Doing
be
my little
commended.
part.
Thank
Credit
you.
Twitter team. They are the best. I'm just doing a little part. Have a good day, everyone. Have a good day.
You too. Sleep well.
All right, I'm also gonna hop off. I need to help Eliza decompress, and that's kind of my job afterwards. Thanks everyone so much for supporting her, and please continue to push her message and share the positive stories. And as she keeps up with Twitter, she'll keep updating. And thanks so much for hosting tonight, and thanks Sarah and Jenna for helping out.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for being Eliza's backbone. She had nothing but praise to say about you. So thank you so much for being here to support and make sure that the right speakers were brought up on stage. Couldn't have done it without you. Thank you.
All right, thanks guys. Good night.
I feel like I can finally breathe. I think I held my breath the entire time that Eliza and Elon were going back and forth. It feels like I didn't breathe at all. So, wow, what an amazing day today has been on all fronts.
Agreed. It was really good seeing him give her the credit, because she's been really working so hard since I've met her, since before I met her. But since I've met her, I've been inspired by her passion. And it really just, it breaks my heart to see how the media, the mainstream media just paints these narratives. Elon was talking about that, and what was going through my mind was like, how can we as I'm a journalist with Teslarati now, and even though I'm not mainstream media, what can we do? What more can we do than report? Like, when you have this whole big media machine that's just spewing out misinformation, and let me tell you, the misinformation, the whole hotel thing, my friend literally called me yesterday and said, Jonna, Elon's enslaving people at Twitter and forcing them to work and keeping them from their families. I saw it on the news. And I'm like, what? I had to hang up on her because she was just going nuts. And I'm one of those, like, if you go crazy on me, I hang up on you and I need to calm down for a day or two.
Hey, guys.
And
Hey, I just wanted to say real quick, because Ian, I know you have a bunch to say. Yeah. Tara, I felt like I was holding my breath for you too. That was just so powerful, and just mad props for owning a female-driven space. That Elon, he showed up, he kept his word, and Eliza, oh my God, it, like, her voice means so much. Like, I feel like she's really gonna give people something. Like you said, there's probably a lot of people that are silent, a lot of people that need to hear her talk and Elon respond to it. So it's just, this is historic. Just good job, ladies. Good job.
I'm just trying to figure out how the media is going to spin the conversation. Last time, Ian, last time we had Elon on a space, the spin that came out of it was just insane.
Oh yeah, they're probably still listening to us here. I mean, so like the other space was also pretty historical. We had Rose McGowan in there, her first space ever. Never used a space before. So, yeah, I mean, are they going to cover that? Probably not, because hey, like Spaces is bad, Twitter's bad. Twitter's going to hell. There's nothing but hate speech on here. What, 300% racism against black people, 50% against gay people. Where are the stats? It was revealed to me in a dream. That's what the media is going to run with. It was revealed to them in a dream.
Right. So Rose McGowan, she's an actress. She actually tweeted 2 hours ago and said, in response to Jack saying he doesn't know what happened in the past year, but to say we didn't take action for years isn't true in regard to the material that was on Twitter for all those years. She responded and said, and yet, Jack, you deactivated an assault victim's account, in parentheses, mine, as in Rose McGowan's account, 4 days after she went public. Mm-hmm. And she said, if that's how your Twitter ran, why should we believe you now?
Yep. You should all retweet that. Can you put that in the space here at the top? Just put the tweet in the top so we can all retweet it, because everybody needs to see that. Yeah. Like, Jack's hands are not clean, right? I know a lot of people like him. I want to like him. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but, a lot of evidence is weighing against him right now that I just can't look away from, right? And this, what Rose McGowan said, what she pointed out, the fact that she was deactivated for 4 days, it tells you something. It's like, did the CAA pull some strings over at Twitter? Probably. We don't know, right? I guess
Did you see the back and forth, Ian, between Jack and Elon today and Ella? Yeah.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah, because Jack was denying that CSE was even a problem on Twitter. That that was a lie, right? Like that Elon was wrong about how CSE was not being policed. He was like, no, this is wrong, and Elon's like, no, it is. In fact, this is what's happening, and Ella will point that out. That they were defunded, right? They didn't have any sort of security mechanism or security people in place to even deal with CSE. I know it's a hard job because, I mean, God, like, imagine that being your job. You wake up every morning and you have to watch children being abused. That's going to take a toll. I don't think anybody's going to volunteer for it. It's one of those jobs that, I mean, I hope it comes with free mental health, stuff and with like extra pay and everything, because that is insane. That's a difficult job. And I do not envy anyone who has to do that. And I'm so thankful that, that you guys, I'm sure you're listening in here. I'm thankful that you're doing your jobs, because that's insane. That's an insane job. This goes the same for like anyone who is in like busting child predators and on all these YouTube channels. I love you guys. You do fantastic work. And what's really sad, and right now, like, I look on Twitter, I mean, I look on YouTube, not Twitter so much, but YouTube, the people who run these channels who are busting child sex predators, including like legitimate cases where they go to the police and they get people arrested, they're being shut down from YouTube right now. right? There is an act of like suppression of people who don't want these predators to get busted, and you know, it's so fucking disheartening to see that. And but it's like at the same time to see Twitter, you know, to see Elon Musk take personal action and prioritize it and making it priority number one, that is like, it gives me so much hope in this platform. Like this platform is going to be the best of all platforms because it prioritizes what actually matters to people, right? It's not about, you know, getting those clicks. It's actually about, you know, it's like a human-centric platform, a human-first platform. And like, I've never heard of that before. You know, before Elon Musk took over Twitter, there was no such place. Everybody else is about the bottom line. And here it's like, no, we want the most people to be able to use this platform, to be able to enjoy it, and to be able to, you know, use it safely in a way that is not suppressive. And that's the only way we can have any kind of future, really, because we don't want a future run by whimsical tyrants, which is how I would describe these Twitter employees, these Twitter executives, who in the chat you can see that they're getting emotional, they're turning into babies because Trump tweeted a thing, right? They're having meltdowns. These people are literally fucking insane, and they were the ones deciding for us what we could say and what we could not say. They were censoring people like Mike Huckabee over a joke, or at least they tried to. And then, even then, after they decided not to censor him, they're like, well, we should. Next time we will. And it's like, wow, you guys, he's telling a joke. And it's no surprise that they took action against the Babylon Bee. They were trying to take action against TikTok for posting publicly available videos. And this is what they were doing. And these people are just completely unhinged. So when Elon took over, that was it. You know, it was it for these guys. They're gone. And I would like to see, you know, this turn into like a domino effect for every other social media platform to follow suit and realize, you know, if they have CEOs who are maybe just like Elon, or maybe they're like Jack, right, who was just sitting on his ass, being powerless. I would like for these people to wake up and be like, hey, you know what? Twitter's run amazingly. Why don't we be like them? Why, you know, they'll look at Twitter and they'll see, oh, Twitter's making billions of dollars. It's making hand over fist. Elon's doing something right. Maybe we should do the same thing and fire all these fuckers. So had to get that off my
Yeah.
chest.
Well said, Ian. And honestly, that was my point to Eliza, because right before Elon came in, she had made a comment about, you know, my work here is done. This is exactly what she needed to see happen. And after he spoke momentarily with her, I made a comment to her and sort of a you know, a shout out obviously to Elon for kind of trailblazing and setting, you know, this new standard, setting a high standard for other social media platforms to do more, because right now they aren't doing enough. And there is a major problem on other platforms with this sort of material. So I asked Eliza directly if, you know, her fight will continue as far as trying to, you know, help out and get that removed from other platforms. She said yes. And, you know, hopefully Elon understands how huge this is. Sometimes I think that he doesn't even realize like how big these steps are, but I think hearing directly from Eliza, voice to voice here tonight, was extremely, you know, eye-opening for him as well, on just how crucial of a time this is to be doing this and making this happen. And she even mentioned, you know, at the rate things were going because of this material being allowed, you know, up here. I forget the exact words that she used, if anyone remembers, but she said it would eventually infringe on our rights because they would use it as a way of, you know, taking more rights away and being allowed to sort of spy on what we're all doing on social media because of these few bad actors who are putting this, you know, media child exploitation material on Twitter.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, it's just, tonight has been amazing. I want to thank everyone who came and listened and shared the space, and just, you know, being here and being a part of it. It seems like each time we do one of these, it's historic. And yeah, to be in the middle of it is unreal.
Can't do too many.
Yeah, but it's all happening real time, and it's so hard because even, I was off my phone, barely had time to like take a shower and brush my teeth, and had like a million messages from people saying Twitter Files 3, they're out, and then jumped on, and I knew you guys would
And
be
then I had
on.
to do an interview with Eric Bowling, right? I mean, I did it once earlier today, and then the Twitter Files dropped, and he calls me. He's like, "Ian, we need you on again. Can you come on?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm in the middle of the space. Fine, I'll do it." And I paused the space for a while, go offline for like 10 minutes or so, and then come back. It's like, man, and then he joins us, and it's like, damn, like crazy things are happening right now. Tomorrow's going to be the same thing. We're having Seb Gorka on, I believe, to talk about Trump administration, all that stuff, and then you have Mike, Schellenberger. He's dropping Twitter Files tomorrow, so that's going to be another space, right? It's already on Mario's timeline. If you want to take a look at it and remind yourself that we're having a space tomorrow. So regardless of which space you join,
Can we
let's
pin that?
I can. Yep. Let me pin it right in here and remind people.
Make sure you guys set your reminder. And honestly, this is not a competition, so I don't want anyone to think that that's what is happening here. But what Eliza said, and she said it very eloquently, is that she did not want, this drop that Andrea did. That's the first pin up at the top in regard to the CSE material on Twitter. She did not want that to be mashed in with Twitter Files 1, 2, and 3. She really wants it to stand apart. And I respect and agree with that. So that's why she wanted to do it this way. But, in the future, obviously, Mario and I will be working closely together, on future spaces. Hi, John.
Tara, you're a rock star. What a
Thank you.
A pleasure to step up on this soapbox. Eliza and I have been friends for a long time. I've watched her evolve. I watched her voice. I don't know if I should say mature, but resonate to a point now where she really is such a dynamic and critical element in this world now today. So I tweeted that. I said that Elon Musk said that called her out as a real leader. So if you guys want to push that around a little bit, isn't it fascinating that we are now seeing a constellation of people, Ian, and all the work that you're doing, but we're seeing some familiar faces that are making critical mass, which I think is really, really interesting. The thousands of people who pop into these rooms is amazing. And I think in part that's Elon's vision regarding the town square. That's what we're seeing. And I got to tell you, I'm sometimes more excited about Twitter Spaces than I am about Twitter as a medium for a spontaneous sort of gathering and a outpouring of emotion. So I could probably talk for 5 or 10 more minutes, but I'll be quiet. It's really a pleasure to be standing shoulder to shoulder with all of you.
Wow. Thank you, John. That is a line that I have been saying for 2 years in Twitter Spaces in the fight for retail investors. And what took place and what originally brought me here was a tweet from Elon Musk, ironically. And here we are, full circle. Started with 0 followers like anyone else, and now he's joining my spaces.
He even said that he's going to do the Tesla earnings call on Spaces.
That was me who.
Yeah,
that was
That was
me.
a big tweet. That was a big tweet.
Yeah, you convinced him. You
bullied
him into it.
I think what
you
they'll
bullied
have
him
to
into
do,
it. You're like, you're gonna do it.
It was
I think they're going to have to have a. They might have to do a legitimate call just because of the legal and the fiduciary responsibilities, accessibility, and all that stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a double kind of thing, a dual call, and then Twitter component. But that is going to establish, a new format, a new dynamic. My area is in healthcare and health technology, and we see meetings around the world, and so few people can go to those meetings. But through Twitter and Twitter Spaces, we can bring the meeting to you, and you can sit back and listen and engage. And one other thing I think is so important here, guys. Twitter is, if not the first, the second most powerful search engine in the world, because it lets you see what people are talking about now. And that's such a powerful tool that we have to keep in mind.
Absolutely. 100% agree.
I really do think that he's going to take you up on that and do the Tesla earnings on Spaces. You think so too?
Very likely. Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's no reason why not, right? You can always host a dual host. Like obviously, he has his fiduciary duties. He has to be able to call people, like investors and stuff. So he'll have that. But at the same time, I think Twitter Spaces could be an option for people to listen in. I mean, it's not like it's private, right? Investor calls, I attend them all the time. They're basically public. You can just call in as a journalist or something. So yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, sure, make it public.
I think
Yeah,
that'll
I've
usher
been
other
to
people in
others.
too.
And that's how I sort of convinced him. Sorry about that. I've been to other spaces, well, a couple where CEOs were live doing their earnings right on Twitter. And I thought, wow, it was just a small deal. And I thought, if Elon Musk, you know, buys Twitter and then does this, it just sets this new precedent for other CEOs and other companies to follow his lead. So again, I think it's just another smart business move. It makes Twitter that much more valuable. And this voice to voice connection, and like John said, this shoulder to shoulder connection to be able to be up on the platform with the CEO of a company. And obviously, here Elon's joining us. He's coming to our spaces. So obviously it's something that he is passionate about. He doesn't want to sit up on a throne and be, treated like some sort of god or king. He wants to be on our level and he wants to hear
The
our
normal guy,
voices.
just
Absolutely.
really, really, really successful. I mean, credit to him. Like, have you seen his working hours? He sleeps like 6 hours a day and then just works the rest of it. I mean, I have multiple jobs, right? And it's so hard not to get lost in switching tracks, right? Because you're doing multiple things at once. Like you're writing one moment, you're doing a video the other. And in his case, like he's running so many different companies at the same time. He's reading like 11 different documents from SpaceX every single day. Updates from Neuralink, like updates from the Boring Company, updates from Twitter. It's like, how do you do this? It's insane. Like I'm like mesmerized just thinking about it.
How could you not be? I think
Right?
that. Do you remember when Rogan asked him how many hours a night do you sleep?
Yeah,
And
it's
he
like
kind
6 hours.
of
Yeah.
he kind of hesitated and he said 6 hours. I think that he was fibbing a little bit because
Yeah, I think it's more like 4.
right,
It's more like 4.
right, 100%.
I mean this in the kindest of ways, but I think Elon Musk is an alien. So there.
It could be an AI from the future, and he's like,
That's right. You see,
tasked to fix us so that we don't have an apocalypse. I mean, how about that? Like that would jive with everything he has done and what he's doing. I know this is crazy talk. I mean, we're just just joking here, but like, imagine if he's like an AI from the future, or maybe not even an AI, but a human from the future, right? Who has been like enhanced with AI, comes back to the past, and the reason why he's back here is to prevent humans from going extinct, getting destroyed by AI. So like this is his ultimate purpose, and he's like making sure that we're like prepared for it. That could
I
be a
mean,
good story, by the way.
at this
Yeah.
point, what do we know, right?
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
don't know, but it could be a good sci-fi story. I'm probably gonna write that at some point.
That is
Yeah.
interesting.
You got to write that. You got to write that.
Guys,
Yeah.
I'm gonna peel off here, but may I conclude with one comment, Tara?
Oops.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So again, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you guys. It really is. It's an honor and a privilege. I just want to close with this thought about Aristotle. And Aristotle said that there are 4 pillars of human achievement. And I've been trying to get my head around technology, not philosophy, not religion, not humanity, but technology. What I found is that his guiding principles are truth, beauty, goodness, and unity. And I posted that on my Twitter feed because I think that that is what we're talking about here. Truth, the search for truth. That's what we're finding out. Beauty, the aesthetic component, the ability to work together, to stand together, to smile at one another, the aesthetics of life. Goodness, my goodness, boy, it's about goodness. And finally, it's about unity. And those 4 features that are really the brainchild of Aristotle, I've written about, and I think it's a guiding principle for the new Twitter. So I'm going to throw that out there. Everybody, have a great night. I'm going to go plop on the couch.
That's a wonderful way to end the space, honestly. Like,
Yeah, I
could not
think
have
so
said it better
too.
myself. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's a high note. That's a high note right there. I don't want to extend it.
Truth,
Yeah.
beauty, unity, and goodness. That's what Twitter is about. And it ain't about technology. It's about humanity and the wonderful connectivity. So, guys, take care. Let's do one of these real soon. I can't wait to
Absolutely.
chat again. Bye bye.
Yeah. Take a look at the
Wow.
guys before we close the space. Be sure to set your reminders for Mario Nawfal's space tomorrow. That's where we'll be talking about tomorrow's drop from Mike Schellenberger. So that's going to be a big one.
Yeah, everybody set your reminders. And Tara, while I have you, Iachino, Bobby Iachino, he loves you, by the way. He mentioned that you guys have done some spaces in the past. Him and Ayuria want to do a space next week, talking about what Elon mentioned about the Fed, interest rates. They have some insight on that, and they wanted you to pop in if you'd like to.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just hopefully they can DM me and I'll try to get through some of these DMs when I
Right.
get home.
Right.
I'm sitting in the parking lot at the gym doing this. So
Oh my God, you're a rock star.
it's been a crazy day, but man, it's been amazing. This is history in the making. And I just want to say you all are a part of it. Everyone who shows up, everyone who shares their voice, everyone who, listens and supports all of the people who are working so diligently to make Twitter a better place, a safer place. And honestly, it'll change the world. And I truly do believe that. Thank you everyone who came to show support, and we'll be on with Mario tomorrow for the next drop. This is insane. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.